we're almost finished with this wreath. In the meantime, I'm going to show you some things that I did before my camera shut off. Good morning. This is Kelly from Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And it's like 4:45 in the morning. I've been up since 2. So let me take a swig of coffee and then we'll get started. Now this is going to be the center bar, or roughly center bar. It's going to be the accent piece for this wreath. And I will trim part of this off when I know exactly where I need to glue it. I'll mark it and I'll trim this off. But what I've done is, before my camera so rudely cut off, I was using Cosmic Shimmer Fluff to create the snow down here at the bottom. And I'm going to do you a quick sample and show you how that works. I used to have some from Stampin' Up. I think I pitched it because I thought this was too thin. So I'm going to knock this down into the tip. And you'll see that it creates kind of a snowdrift, a textured snowdrift across there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a bead here and show you how it comes out. And then we attack it with the heat gun, and I'm going to use my Timmy tool here to hold my paper in place. And when you heat activate it, it puffs up. Almost looks like puffy paint. And you could use puffy paint. Now, I don't know if you can still get this Cosmic Shimmer Fluffy stuff. But the more you heat it, the fluffier it gets. But you have to find that fine point where you stop. Otherwise, it'll start to discolor too. Let's see how that turned out. Let me run you a thin line here so you can see the difference. See the difference between that and then what happens after you heat activate it? Now, Stampin' Up! Used to carry something similar. And when it came out of the bottle, it was like that. And I thought, well, that's not going to do anything. I didn't read the directions and knew that I had to take heat to it. So I think I pitched the bottles from Stampin' Up! So there is that. So that's what I have done down here at the bottom of this. And see, the longer you let it sit and cool, the less damage of actually messing it up. So I'm going to set this aside and we will put that in place in time for next week. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk about the snowflakes I have done. I was using this snowflake it's from the signature collection of Sarah Davies. It's called Frosty Christmas. This was from Card Making and Paper Crafting issue 189 in Christmas of 2018. So I cut 2 from white cardstock and 1 from Stampin' Up! Glitter paper. And that let me give a little bit of dimension to them because they're really flimsy. So here's one. Let me move this out of the way and I can show you. Here's how flimsy they are, how delicate with just the single. And then I've got something a little heavier, and I think this will glue to the wreath better. So I've created that little extra base on these. Now, they don't line up perfectly. I found that out. But when they're all clustered on the wreath, I don't think that's going to matter. Because, snowflakes aren't perfect anyway, right? So I used those. I also did, let's see, and in the center of those, some of them, I put this snowflake embellishment. It's from Little Birdie's Christmas Handmade Embellishments collection. And I had gotten these from Madi at Spectrum Art Creations as well. I started using, because I bought these dies several years ago, and I started using the Tim Holtz Snowflake number 1 and number 3. Now, I tried number 1. And it was so hard to get all those little pieces out of there that I just stopped. Well, then my husband compared the dies and noticed that the die on number 3, although it's more detailed, it also appeared to be a little thicker. So, and I found that I could not run it through my small Stampin' Up! Die cutting machine, but it cut really well through the Big Shot. So see, this is one. These were the first 2 that I cut out, and they just didn't punch out well. But I can still use them because I can put them on the wreath and I can layer them with other things. So we can still use those. But then here was number 1. And I just love these. Look at those. Aren't those pretty? Now, how well they're going to layer on here by themselves, I don't know. We're going to find out when I put them together later this week. So I had those. And then, from the dies from Timmy, then I had this punch. And I did the big ones in white cardstock, and then I did the small one in the glitter paper. And I came up with these for those. For that punch. So we have those. And then I used this Martha Stewart punch, and I punched out just, I cut one out in cardstock, one out in the glitter paper, and then I kind of offset them and put a dimensional behind each one, so they had a little bit of dimension to them. I had done the same thing dimension-wise with these, but these, instead of setting off center, I lined them up as best as I could. So we have lots of snowflakes to put on this thing when I start putting it together. Now, like I said, I don't really want to put anything together until I start. The other thing I had to think about, let me get my gun out of the way here, my heat gun out of the way, and get it put away because I'm not going to use it anymore this morning. One of the things that kept bugging me was how was I going to hang this? And if I was going to put a hanger on it, and if you want to put a hanger on this, I recommend finding that point first and putting your wire hanger on or whatever you're going to use for a hanger. Because once you get the ribbons in place, there's no way to do that. Now, the other thing is, it's pretty lightweight. So I think I can just hang this on a command hook and we'll be fine. So that was my other thing. So before I start putting snowflakes on, even though I have them done, I want to be able to put that in place first. Let me move these so I can get this in camera a little bit. And we're going to talk for just a couple minutes here. My snowflakes are still kind of tacky on the back, so I'm trying not to stack them one on top of the other if I can help it. Because what I did to put the glue on these is I used a finger dauber and my white glue. And because this is a silicone mat, I could lay them down and I could just dab the glue in place, bring the other one over, and try to line it up as best I could and glue them together. So that's how I applied the glue to those. These little finger daubers, you can get them just about anywhere. I get mine at Hobby Lobby, and there are 24 of them in here for $7, so I didn't think that was too bad. We're talking 40 cents a piece, if my math this early in the morning is correct. So we have those. So something to think about. If you want to have an actual wire hanger or attach a picture hanger on here, the other thing I would caution is if you're going to put a picture hanger on here, you're going to have to use something like either your hot glue gun, but I would recommend E6000 because E6000 is going to be really sturdy and hold that in place, but it's not going to release in temperature changes. So there is that. And then this will go right along here. And then I will begin positioning, noting where my center is. And I think I had picked a center out. The other thing I wanted to be cautious of was some of these patterns are directional, some of them aren't. And I didn't think about that when I put that one on, that it was going to be upside down. But think about where your pattern's going to be. Now, because I'm going to hang this on a command hook, if I'm going to put this here, I could put a big snowflake up here, but I'm going to want to offset it so that I don't get caught up in the where the hanger's at. So I could do that and set them offside, but then I'm going to want to make sure that I leave that open, put another one in place, maybe put a smaller one up here to the offset so that I can still bring the bigger ones down here along the base. Let's see where that one's going to be, and that would cover up that boo-boo, the one that didn't cut very well. And I could do those like that. And I'd put my big ones in first. Let's see, I got too many up there that close. Let's move this one down to here. And that would do that. And then I can come back with my smaller ones, scatter them about. And because they're not dry yet, and this isn't dry yet, but I could still come back around with smaller snowflakes. Maybe put some of these smaller ones here on the center. I don't want that white one. I'd want a glitter one. But then I also have these that I could place around. So when this is completely dry, I'm going to come back in and I will position these around. And I will show you how this all comes out next week. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and we still have a few more days of Christmas in July, so make sure you come back. Creative Christmas blessings.